Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's webinar. We're just going to wait a couple minutes here just for some people to log on, and then we'll get started. And just a quick reminder that this webinar is going to be recorded, so you are going to receive the full recording tomorrow, and you will have access to all of the slides that I go through as well. So that's going to come through your email tomorrow afternoon. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, I just want to say this has definitely been one of the most exciting webinars I've done today, because at the end of it, there's going to be a lot of really fun surprises, and there's going to be some giveaways. And you guys are also going to be able to take part in a free 14-day challenge as well. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that towards the end. So first, we'll start a little bit about me. So I am a registered holistic nutritionist, and I'm a culinary nutrition expert at Nutrichem. And I'll tell you a little bit about why I became a holistic nutritionist and kind of how it relates to what we're talking about today. So when I was younger, maybe around 19 or so, that's kind of when I really started focusing on my own health. And I realized that food really made a difference in the way I felt. So I love to exercise, but I was always refueling with a lot of processed foods after my workouts, and I was always starving. So I was always reaching for things like cereals and granola bars, and I wasn't ever really reaching for real food. And ironically, at that same time, I was also having a lot of unexplained pain in my side. So I was having this really horrible pain all along the left side of my stomach. And it came to the point where I was like, okay, this isn't normal, because it had happened quite a few amounts of time, and I really couldn't link it to anything. So I brought this up to my doctor, so my family doctor, and his response was really interesting. So he said that, it didn't make sense that why I was having pain in this one specific spot on my left side, because the only thing that was there was my intestinal system. And basically, I walked out of the office and I didn't have any answers, and I wasn't feeling any better. So basically, it took that experience, and at that moment, I knew basically I was on my own, and I was really forced into doing my own research on how to heal my body. And at the same time, I had just started doing nutrition school, so it was shortly after that. And that's when I really found out that food was at the root cause of my worsening symptoms. And that's why for me in my practice, it's always so rewarding when I have a client come back and they're just feeling so much better. And you can tell when they come back, usually for their follow-up appointment, that they're actually a totally different person. So I notice things like their mood improves, they start sleeping better, they get rid of digestive problems that basically they were told were normal, so kind of what happened to me, or it might just be something that they have to live with, and then they finally have relief. And then I always want people to know that when it comes to nutrition, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So there are always some small steps that we can take nutritionally that are going to have a really dramatic impact on your health. So we'll get started into, first we're going to talk about processed foods. So what are we eating? So this is according to the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Canada. Canadians are the second largest purchasers of ultra processed foods. So I'm sure you can imagine which country is the first largest processor. So of course that would be America. So they're the first and we're the second. And on average, we're consuming around 230 kilos per person per year of processed foods. And actually, that's ultra processed foods. So what are ultra processed foods? These foods are basically anything that have really high amounts of salt, high amounts of sugar, and unhealthy fats. So think of things that you find in the grocery store aisles that are in packages. So things like cookies, cakes, sweets, chip, pop, candies. These are what are considered ultra-processed foods and that we are eating a ton of. And now let's talk a little bit about real food. So real food basically has no other ingredients added. So real food, these are the ingredients that we should be making our meals and our snacks out of. Real food is unprocessed, it's whole, and it's natural. And then one of the biggest questions I always get from a lot of people is organic food better? Should I be purchasing organic? And when it comes down to it, there is a list called the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. So basically every year, the Environmental Working Group puts out a list of the cleanest ones that you can buy, and then the dirtiest in terms of pesticides. So one of the main pesticides that's used on our produce is something called glyphosate, and that's used on a lot of our conventionally grown produce, even here in Canada. And right now, the health implications, so we don't know a ton about it. We do know that it is starting to be banned in some other countries, but some health implications that have been linked to it is that it lowers stomach acidity, and we really need to make sure that we have the correct stomach acidity to make sure that we're breaking down our food, digesting it properly, and getting all of the nutrients from it. And if we don't have enough stomach acid, that's not going to happen. It also causes poor GI motility. So basically that means that you can become constipated very easily. It's linked to depleting our melatonin, which is really important for proper sleep. And it can also disrupt our vitamin D absorption. So again, in Canada, we took 869 samples of grain products, and 3.9% of these samples showed higher levels than the maximum residue level allowed in Canada. So that means that it was over and above what is actually allowed to be sprayed with. And then some tips on how you can avoid this pesticide. So of course we can buy organic when possible. And remember that every time that you're at the grocery store, you're basically voting with what you buy of what you want that grocery store to carry. So the more that we continue to support and buy from organic growers, the more that's going to be available to us. And then we also want to avoid cane sugar, something that's heavily sprayed as well. And then some of the top foods that are sprayed with this pesticide, so foods made with canola, soy, wheat, and corn oils. And if you look at a lot of processed food, because these oils are so cheaply made, these are the ones that tend to get used in these processed foods. So I want to go through a little bit of a case study with you all. So this is a real case study from the clinic. So we'll call her Susan. So Susan was a 59-year-old female, and she came in with me and she had some complaints of low energy. So if she had to rate her energy on a scale of 1 to 10, her energy was currently at a 3. She was always feeling hungry, so no matter what she ate, she was never full, and she was always reaching for snacks. She had a constipation, so she was having a bowel movement every 3 days, which really is not normal. So we should be having a bowel movement at least once a day. And then on top of that, she also wanted to lose 20 pounds. So some things that Susan previously did. So she tried to follow a vegetarian diet. She tried following a low carb diet, and she even tried following a portion control diet where there were these specific plastic containers that certain foods would fit in, and that would be her portion allowed for each meal. And then she was always falling off the wagon on every single diet she did. So she said, I would stick to this diet for 3 weeks or a month. And then it was just so restrictive that she would totally go the opposite way and would be binging on all these other foods. And at the most, she lost about 5 pounds when she did the low carb diet. But again, she fell off the wagon, as she called it, and she gained another 10 back. So basically, so far, she had no success with her main complaints. So we came up with an action plan. So after we went through Susan's full health history, she also did a 7-day diet journal. So that's where she wrote down everything she was eating so we could go over it together. And we both came to an agreement that we wanted to implement more of a real food diet for 30 days. So what we did was we really focused on the quality of food she was eating. So instead of limiting her quantities, we're looking at the types of food she was eating and if they were good quality. Another tip that I gave her was to make sure that half of her plate was veggies at each meal. So we always want to focus on getting even more than one vegetable at each meal. So she would switch it up between things like broccoli, cauliflower, leafy greens, green beans, Brussels sprouts, sweet potato, and we really made sure we got a lot of variety in there as well. And she limited processed foods as much as possible. And when she went grocery shopping, she shopped mainly in the produce section in the grocery store. And she already had a really great local butcher that she went to get some good quality meats. So Susan's 30-day follow-up. So I always make sure to follow up people within 30 days up to about 6 weeks. That way, that's how we can make sure, okay, are we on track with everything going on? Does it feel right to the client? So Susan came back after the 30 days and she had already lost 8 pounds. And she was so excited because she was actually getting back into more healthy habits. So not only was she eating better, she found she was outside exercising more, going for walks. And for her, it was really important that she learned new recipes that her family loved too, because it's always really important when you're making dietary changes that you do have support. If you are living in a household with someone or with your family, or you can always grab a friend for support as well. So she loved that. And her energy increased to a 7 out of 10. And she was finally having a bowel movement every day. And she was actually feeling satisfied after her meal. So she found that she wasn't snacking as often and that she was really feeling full. And she had also mentioned that this is a way that she felt like she could eat long term because it wasn't restrictive. She wasn't having to count any calories. She wasn't limiting specific groups of food. She felt that this diet was really balanced and doable. And I feel like that's where a lot of people get really confused around diets. So there are so many diets in the world of nutrition. So basically every time you turn on your TV or if you go to Google something about nutrition, look on Facebook or Instagram, somebody's following a new diet. So I know the biggest one out there right now is the ketogenic diet, a lot of people doing. But there's also things like the paleo diet, low carb diet, raw diet, vegan. And the thing with these diets is that they all kind of come with this really strict set of rules, which in some people, so if you're going through kind of a healing situation and you need to follow a specific diet for health reasons, then these diets can be very, very beneficial, but they can also be really overwhelming. So if you're someone who's just starting out, and you want to improve your health, you don't have to, put yourself in one of these categories. And I think the main thing that we can take away from all of these diets together is that they all focus on real food. A lot of them focused on a lot of plant-based options. They focus on getting a lot of your fiber from vegetables. So that's where you can kind of take the confusion out of it. So doing a real food diet is going to give you a lot more variety, and you're not going to feel like you're stuck in these strict set of rules. And then we come to packaged food claims. So shopping in the grocery store can be definitely one of the most confusing things. So we see health claims everywhere now. A long time ago, it was the low fat health craze that was showing up. Gluten-free is a big one, sodium-free, made without preservatives. We see things that are health check approved, which what does that actually mean? No sugar added, 0 calories. So these were all things that food companies do for advertising to entice us, to make us interested in their products and make us think that it's healthy. And it doesn't mean that all of the processed foods or any foods that come in a package with a health claim are bad for you. It just means that we need to look beyond the health claim. So next time you see that, let's flip that package around, because the real story of how this food is going to affect us lies in the ingredient list. So this is actually something, English muffins that I found in the gluten-free section at my grocery store. And just for one example, we'll go over the gluten-free diet and kind of how packaged foods play into that. So not only the gluten-free diet, but any kind of diet. A lot of my clients will ask me, just because it's gluten-free, doesn't that mean it's healthy? Like, oh, I had this prepackaged muffin, but oh, don't worry, it was gluten-free, so it's fine, right? But again, let's look at the ingredients. So this was the ingredient list on the English muffins in my grocery store. And when I turned the package around and I saw this list, there are a lot of the oils that we talked about that we want to stay away from, a lot of refined flours, refined corn. And to be honest, there's so many ingredients in here that honestly, I don't even know what they are. So why am I going to want to put that in my body? And that's just one example. So yeah, it contains sugars, processed corn and rice flours, contains processed oils, so ones that we talked about that are sprayed with the pesticides. And not only that, with all processed foods, not just gluten-free, what often happens is because these grains have been processed, it loses the actual vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are naturally in these foods. And then they have to re-add it back in. And these forms are usually cheaper forms and they're less absorbable for our body. So we can't actually even make real use of these vitamins that have been added back in. So really always be aware of the ingredients when you're looking at packaged foods. And it doesn't mean that they're all bad, but we just want to be really aware of those health claims. So this is where the exciting, fun stuff comes in. So the Nutrichem Nutritionist, so we're hosting a free challenge in the Nutrichem Nutrition Facebook group. So this is our whole nutrition team at Nutrichem. So we're made up of 4 holistic nutritionists, and it's going to be really easy to sign up. So it's going to be in our Nutrichem Nutrition Facebook group, and I know some of you are already in that group. I noticed by some of the names that are attending. And this challenge, it's going to start Monday, June 4th. So we still have a little bit of time to prepare, and we're going to give you all the details you need to get prepared for this. So who should join? Really, anyone can join this challenge. So if you're unsure where to start and you just want to, get some healthy habits or learn how to eat balanced meals, if you're looking to lose weight, if you want to improve your energy, boost your mood, sleep better, if you want to fix your gut, so if you're having any digestive issues, if you want to support or prevent any cardiovascular health issues, if you want to improve your exercise recovery, or if you're just interested in little tips and tricks that we do to make healthy living a lot easier. So really anyone can join this challenge. And these are the foods that we're going to be focused on eating for the 14 days. So lots of fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. We're going to be eating whole grains, and we're mostly going to be sticking to gluten-free. Lots of healthy fats and oils. We're going to be eating good quality animal products, so meat, eggs, nuts and seeds, beans, and lentils. So even if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, or if you want to do more of a paleo style diet, this applies to everyone. And you also don't need to fall into any of those categories because we're just focusing on real food in general. And some things that we're avoiding. So we're going to be avoiding processed foods like I discussed earlier. So things like packaged cookies, cakes, and then we're going to be avoiding those packaged granola bars, protein bars, snack bars. Even if they have okay ingredients and these great claims, we really want to get back to eating a real food diet just to see how it really feels to be fueling our body with these great foods. And also pop, chips, crackers, any types of breads and wraps are what we're going to choose to avoid. So I really want you guys to join me on the challenge. So I'm going to talk you through how you can sign up and how you can take advantage of all the exciting offers that are going to be happening as well. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to join the nutrition Facebook group. So when you're on Facebook, you can just type in the search bar Nutrichem Nutrition, and then you can ask to be added to the group, and then we'll approve you. So it is a private group. And in there, the whole challenge is going to be run by 3 of our nutritionists, and we're going to be sharing recipes. We're going to be showing you guys tips and tricks that we use in our everyday life, and we're going to be sharing some really fun and exciting real food recipes. And being in the Facebook group and having that support of everyone else is a really good way to stay on track during the challenge. So if you haven't joined any of our challenges before and you are in the group, there's a lot of support from not only us, but other people who are taking part as well. And then step 2, so there is an amazing free ebook. So this was written by, again, the nutrition team, so myself and 2 other nutritionists. And you guys get to claim this book for free, which is amazing. So there's 2 ways to do it. So if you're new to the group, all you have to do is join the group, and then you're going to get that ebook automatically. So we're going to send that to you within 24 hours after you join. And then the other way that you can join is by inviting 2 friends to the group. So if you're already a part of our NutriChem Nutrition Facebook group, all you have to do is invite 2 friends to the group, and then we're going to send you the free Real Food for Real Life ebook. And again, in there is going to be lots of tips and tricks, and that's written by us expert nutritionists at NutriChem. And then step 3, so not only are we doing an ebook, we're also offering a 14-day real food meal plan. So the ebook is great because it gives you all the background of real food, why we're doing the challenge, a lot of the motivation. But for some people, we just need a little bit of extra support. So that's why we did the 14-day meal plan. And that's something that if you would like to, you can pre-order now. And it's not going to be available until May 28th. So that will be the official date that it gets sent out to everyone. So in the 14-day meal plan, it's going to be a beautifully laid out meal plan, and it includes all simple real food recipes. So these are going to be easy recipes that come together quickly. They're going to be really nourishing and delicious snacks as well. So not only do you get the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, there's going to be snacks in there too. And it's going to be totally gluten-free and dairy-free because as of right now, we do have a lot of clients with these restrictions. So we just wanted to make it easy for everybody to modify if they need to as well. And for a limited time, we're selling this 14-day meal plan for $30. So you can get it for half price up until that date. And then step 4 for the challenge is to get your checklist. So there's going to be a printable download in tomorrow's email. So you're going to be getting an email with the webinar recording along with all the steps to join the Facebook group, a reminder how to get the free ebook, and how to get the meal plan. And you're also going to get this Real Food for Real Life Getting Started checklist. So it's just some things that you can do before the challenge starts. Because it's great that, you know, we pick a date to do this challenge, so June 4th, but it doesn't mean just on that day the challenge starts. There's a lot of things that you can do ahead of time. So something that I like to do is, you know, get my grocery shopping list ready, making sure the weekend before the challenge that I have all my groceries ready for the week. And that weekend, I'm probably going to be preparing some foods for the week to make it easy. Because the easiest way to stay on track during your challenge is to have either your meals planned or having things prepped and ready to go. Most people fail because they fail to plan. So getting all of those things in order is going to be really important for success during the challenge. And really exciting, so this is the contest time. So 2 lucky people who watch this webinar, you're going to win the 14-day meal plan for free. So it's really, really simple to enter. So if you haven't already joined the NutriChem Nutrition Facebook group, the first step is to do that. And then the second step, I want you to post why you're joining the challenge by filling in the blank. So all you're going to do is write, I'm joining the Real Food for Real Life Challenge 2, and then you're going to say why you're doing it. So it could be to learn new recipes. It could be to, you know, have a healthy family. It could be to lose weight. Maybe you want to increase your energy. So we want you to share that in the NutriChem Nutrition Facebook group. And then last, I wanted to open the floor for any questions. And also keep in mind that when you do join the group, there's going to be a lot of questions asked, and you guys can ask questions there as much as you want. So if you don't think of something today, that's totally fine. So you can write your questions in the question area below. It's just going to take a second for it to load on my end. So the first question is it okay to drink coffee on the challenge? Yes, drinking coffee on the challenge is fine. So I know we did a caffeine-free challenge a little while ago, but drinking coffee is totally fine. And we do always recommend to make sure that you're getting a good quality coffee. So if you can find organic and fair trade, that will be very important for sure. So somebody else asked, where do we find the 15 checklist? So if you're referring to the clean 15 and the dirty dozen, so if you look up the Environmental Working Group, or EWG, every year they release a new list of the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. So it does change year to year, and it usually comes out every spring. So there is one out now that you can look up. So another question I have here is, notice that you include grains. What are your views on Dr. David Perlmutter's position on grains as outlined in Grain Brain? That's a really great question. So for some people, grains can cause digestive issues, and this is something that we do talk a little bit about in the free ebook. Grains aren't going to be good for everyone, but on a real food diet, and if you're just looking for a place to start, grains are totally fine to include. All the recipes that we're going to be doing are made with gluten-free grains. And one of the keys, if you are doing grains, and beans are kind of included in this as well, it's really important to make sure that you're preparing them properly. So when you're cooking grains or beans, it's imperative that you actually soak them before you cook them. So what I do is, if I'm going to do some brown rice, I usually soak it the day before, and then just before cooking it, I give it a really good rinse, and then I go ahead and add the water to cook. So depending on the person, grains could be an issue, but on the real food diet, they're totally fine. So somebody asked where to find organic fruits in Ottawa. And we're really lucky now because a lot of our grocery stores, like Farm Boy, have a ton of organic fruits. Pretty much every Farm Boy I've been to does have an organic section. And now is actually a really great time to start going to your local farmers market. So I know the one in Cart just opened last weekend, and there you can go and you can chat with the farmers. You can find out what they use on their crops. And a lot of them will say that they're organic. So you can go to your farmers market, or check out Farm Boy, or even Loblaws does have a lot of organic produce. Yeah, and somebody even mentioned that Walmart sometimes has organic fruit as well. Somebody else asked, where can I buy organic and grass-fed chicken, eggs, turkey, and meat? Because I only seem to find organic but not grass-fed. So chicken is never going to be grass-fed. Chickens thrive on grain, so you will not ever find grass-fed chicken. But if you're looking for really good quality meat, check out your butcher, ask them questions, ask them where they get their meat from. The more that we go in and we can question them, and the more that they see people are looking for these good quality foods, it's more likely they're going to start bringing them in, and it's going to be more widely available. So for me personally, I order all of my meat products from a local Canadian company that's called True Local. It's TRULOCAL, and you can Google them, and basically they will ship to your house flash frozen meat, and I find that they're very good quality. But yeah, locally, go talk to some of your butchers and ask them where they get their meat from. And yeah, the more demand that we make for these foods, the more places are going to start carrying them, which is really great. Somebody had commented, Saslove in Westboro has grass-fed meats. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, yeah, and then somebody asked about Bear Brook Farm. Personally, I'm not familiar with them, but always make sure you're questioning the people that you're purchasing your meats and even your fruits and veggies from. It doesn't have to be in an aggressive way, but just, curious of the quality, where they source things from. It never hurts to ask, absolutely. Somebody wanted to know when the challenge starts. So again, it starts on June 4th. So there's going to be lots of time to prepare now until then. And again, you guys are going to get the checklist. And also the free ebook in the group. So it's going to give you a lot of ideas on how you can get prepared for June 4th. And then somebody asked about alcohol on the diet. So basically, we do have a post coming up on that as well. It's not something that we recommend during the diet just because we do want to keep it to a lot of real food. But there is going to be a post on our Facebook group that somebody wrote specifically about that, so you can find out more information there. Somebody wants to know if is it better to buy local even if it's not organic, but because of the freshness and vitamin content? Yeah, that's a really good question. So for me, I love buying local. So even if it's not organic, I will definitely purchase something that's local before it's something that's been shipped in from somewhere. So yeah, even if it's not organic, it's great to purchase local, absolutely. Because yeah, the fresher our food, the more vitamins and minerals are going to be in there too. And then another person asked about the meal planning, how long it is. So it's going to be 14 days for the meal plan. So that doesn't mean that there's going to be a new meal every single day on the meal plan. We wanted to make it very doable. So what we do is we like to use lots of leftovers. And in the first book, we do talk about meal planning as well. So just ways that you can plan your week to make it run smoothly and as efficiently as possible, and also making sure that you're not wasting food. So food waste is going to be really important. So making sure that you're using your leftovers and everything like that. So again, that's going to be in the first ebook under the meal planning section, but the meal plan is going to be for 14 days. And then somebody else asked, so what alcohol is usually okay? So yeah, if you do drink alcohol, again, we do address that in one of our posts, but we always recommend organic when possible and obviously in moderation for sure, but we do give more information about that in the group. Okay, so I think that was all the questions that we had. Um, oh. Another person asks, can you have Diet Pepsi? So pop is not something that we recommend. So pop is a very processed item. I probably wouldn't even call it food because of how processed it is. And keep in mind that diet soft drinks have a lot of artificial sweeteners in there. So that's definitely something that we're going to want to stay away from. That can cause a lot of gut issues and a lot of neurological issues as well. So I definitely recommend staying away from Diet Pepsi. Um, Somebody else asked, does it have to be for every single meal of the day? And that's a really great question too. So if you're not ready to like totally commit to doing it all for 14 days, like I said before, it really doesn't have to be all or nothing. So join the 14-day challenge, and if the only thing that you can change right now is your breakfast and making your breakfast a real food meal, that's totally fine. So it doesn't have to be everything changing at once. You can definitely just do one meal and start from there. And like I said, it really starts from these small habits that you can build off of every day. And then somebody else asked, juicing or smoothies instead of juice? Yep, so instead of using juice, which again is going to be a processed food, so what happens with the juices that you find in the grocery store is that they are pasteurized, which means that they're heated at a very high temperature. And in that processing, a lot of the vitamins and minerals are killed off because of the heat. So if you wanted to juice fresh vegetables yourself, that would be fantastic. Smoothies are definitely a great option because then you're getting all the fiber components of your fruits and vegetables as well. So yeah, fresh juice or homemade smoothies are going to be the best. And then somebody wants to know how much water they should drink per day while doing the 14-day challenge. So my recommendations, it's always at least 8 glasses a day. 2 liters of water is going to be ideal. And that's just a general guideline. So if you're somebody who exercises, or if you spend a lot of time out in the sun, or if you have a very physical job, that amount is going to want to increase. Or if you drink caffeine or pop, anything like that, caffeinated tea, you're going to want to increase the amount of water that you drink. Somebody asked about using stevia as a sweetener or coconut sugar in coffee. Stevia is totally fine. So if you like the taste of stevia, that's absolutely fine to use. Coconut sugar in coffee, yeah, coconut sugar is definitely a better alternative than using a white sugar or brown sugar. Oh, and I see a lot of you are already asking to join the group already, so that's great. I'm getting a lot of notifications here on my phone. And then somebody else asked, what's my opinion on cheese? So again, similar to the grain thing, dairy can really depend on the person. If you feel like dairy may be an issue for you, so thinking of like, yogurt, Greek yogurt, cheeses, milk, the 14 days could be a good time to give your body a break and just really see how you feel taking the cheese or the dairy out of your diet for that amount of time. And if you're having any symptoms, maybe if they clear up, you can see if it's related to that or not. If you do want to include any dairy on the 14-day real food challenge, again, I would always recommend that you're looking at the quality, so making sure it's organic, grass-fed cheeses. There are a lot of health food stores, depending on where you're from, but I know in Ottawa, I can always find really good quality cheese at any type of health food store that's near me. All right, is there any other questions here? And you're welcome to everyone that's saying thank you right now. All right, so that's going to be the end of tonight's webinar, but remember that the support doesn't end here. So in the Facebook group, you're going to have all the time to ask as many questions as you want. Remember to join the group, and if you're already joined, add 2 friends to get the free ebook. And you guys are going to be receiving the handouts tomorrow along with the recording and then all the information I talked about tonight. All right, everyone, see you in the nutrition Facebook group for the challenge and have a great night.